Hello, and welcome to the last video of the year. So I wanted to wrap up this year's reading experience, but I always felt a little something lacking with the standard end of the year book tag. So what I ended up doing was I scoured BookTube and I found a few different end of the year tags and superlative tags, and I kind of combined the questions together that I wanted to talk about. So yeah, here we go. I wrote them down on these little pieces of paper. So why don't we just go ahead and start, I guess. Number 1, are there any books you started this year that you need to finish? Yes. This one, The Winds of God. I started buddy reading this one with Bethany. We buddy read the first book together. We started buddy reading this one together. I'm not really sure where she's at with this one. We haven't checked in with each other in a while, but I am there, just over halfway. And I'm enjoying it. The thing is, I really love this series. But I am a slow reader when it comes to reading with my eyes, and there's no audiobook for this one, or at least I can't find it. So I'm reading it with my eyes, which is why it's taking it so long. But this one is by Gilbert Morris. It is historicals, Christian, really cool because it incorporates a lot of like really factual elements from that time in history, and like we get to see a lot of the real royal family from 1553. So it's really fascinating. And anyway, talking too long about this one. Yeah, so this is the book that I started this year that I would like to finish. Today is the 29th of December. So I have today and then 2 more days. Highly doubt I'll finish this one because you'll see later on, but I would like to. Then in addition to that question is, are there any series that you started this year that you want to finish? And for me, it is the Pendragon Cycle by Stephen Lawhead, because I read the first 3, really enjoyed them. I just yesterday finished book 4, did not like it. Not because I didn't like it, because it didn't grasp any part of my attention. I read the entire thing. Everything went in one ear, out the other. Like, I can't tell you what that book is about. It was so insignificant, I think. And I don't know if that was just a state of me or the book. So, yeah. I know my friend Chrissy is reading this series right now, so maybe when she gets to that book, she can lend a little insight into what happened in the book or why it might not have hit me the right way, but that is the one. And then there's only one book after it, so I will finish Grail is the 5th book, and I'll finish Grail in the new year, or I'll start and finish Grail in the new year. But question number 2, which new release have you not gotten to yet but really want to, like ASAP? And that would be Crown of Beauty and Anarchy by my friend Melanie, whose pen name is Aurora Bell. So yes, I've been so excited for this book, so excited. The thing is, I bought the book and then I wanted to gift it, and so I didn't feel like I should be reading it because it wasn't my physical copy, so I didn't want to, like, you know, make it look like it had been read before. And I could have just ordered a second book for myself, but I knew that Melanie was going to send me one, so I've been waiting for that one. So anyway, all that to say, I really want to read that book, but I haven't yet. Like, I really want to read it, like, so bad. So as soon as my copy does come, pretty sure that same day I'm starting it. Question number 3, how many books did you read this year? Well, technically, Goodreads says 93, and that does not feel very good. So I have a little selection here of really small, quickish books. So like this one, it should be really fast to go through. I can't show you properly, but you guys can see it, I'm sure. This one, I mean, I haven't read a single Ilion Chronicled book this year, which is absurd because I really loved book 1 last year. So hello. So I really need to read this one. Maybe I might even prioritize this one over this one because this one has a higher chance of getting finished in 3 days. And then I have like this Winnie the Pooh poetry book, and then this little poetry book, and then this little kids book. This one has more words in it, which I didn't know, so I might save it because we'll see. We'll see. Kids books are easy to read, so it might go fast. We'll see. Anyway, all that to say, my goal is to have 100 books read, which I do have to tell you, at the beginning of this past year, I made a goal for myself to read less. And in fact, I have read less because the past 2 years, I would say, I think I was reading 200 books in the year, and now I'm struggling to make it to 100 books in this year, so less. Next question. What are your bookish plans or goals for 2026? Okay, this is a big one. This one I thought of like kind of on the spur of the moment, and I clung to it, and I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this. And I don't know how well I'm gonna do this one, honestly. So I do feel like I have a problem of audiobook reading too much because I don't get physical reading time in because I'm reading audiobooks, and I can multitask on audiobooks, and you can't multitask when you read with your eyes. So that is a problem I have, and I've been trying to break it, and that's why this past year I wanted to read less, and I thought that would help, and it did not help at all. So I'm still very much reading audiobooks the majority of the time. So my goal for 2026, you guys, is I'm only reading books I own. I can read those books through audio if I want. And I can buy new books, but I have to read books that I own. That's huge and scary. It's scary. I don't know if I'll be able to do it, but I do have a lot of books, so I feel like I should be able to do it, but because I read so slow, it's gonna feel like I'm not reading very much. I'm gonna have to figure it out, but I want to read only the books that I own. I was gonna say something else about that, and I can't remember what that was. Oh well, I'll leave it there. Next question. My favorite book would be Circle of Honor by Carol Umberger. This book, unfortunately, it was so early in the year, and I didn't find one that I really loved as much as it, except for the first book in the Wakefield Dynasty. That one I also loved, but we're going with Circle of Honor by Carol Umberger. I really, really love this whole series, actually. I thought she did a really good job with this historical fiction. I thought it was fantastic. My worst book of the year, and this one didn't come so easily to me, like it wasn't like I had it sitting there all year and I was like, oh yeah, I hate this book. So I did have to look at my Goodreads and see which one I rated the lowest, and I had 2 books that I rated 2 stars, and they were Mort by Terry Pratchett and I don't know if it's The Chrysalids or just Chrysalids by John Wyndham. Those 2 books I rated 2 stars, didn't like them, wouldn't recommend them, wouldn't read them again. So question number 7, my most disappointing book, which is very different from the worst book, okay? So my most disappointing was Splintered and Guards by Terry Pratchett. I can't remember who Splintered was by. So Splintered was an Alice in Wonderland retelling. It was YA, and I knew all that going into it. However, what I didn't realize was it was in first person, and I couldn't find an audiobook. No, wait, I did find an audiobook. Yes, that was the only way I could read it. So first person, but it was also present tense. Ooh, that is not a good combo for me. So yeah, I very much did not like that aspect, and then I just didn't care for the story either. So I love a good Alice in Wonderland retelling. I just didn't feel like this was that. And then the other one was Guards by Terry Pratchett. This one is ranked as a lot of people's favorite Terry Pratchett from the Discworld. Like a lot. Like it's a well-loved story in the Discworld. And so I had so high expectations because I've only read like 4 from the Discworld, I think. And I read it and I didn't like it. Like I gave it a 2.75 star, I think. I just didn't like it. I don't understand. Why do people love this one so much? Like there was no charm like I have read in like Going Postal. That one's my favorite Terry Pratchett. I loved Going Postal. But even Monsters Regiment has a lot of charm. This one had no charm in it. Like, what is this? I don't like it. Question number 8, my biggest pleasant surprise, which would be You Are Fatally Invited. Oh, the reason I have this so close to my face is because my writing is really small. So my biggest pleasant surprise was You Are Fatally Invited by Anne Diaplego, I think is the name. And the reason why it was such a pleasant surprise was because I believe this is a secular fiction, and it was a retelling of And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie, which I love that story, and so I love retellings of that story. And so I had a little bit high expectations, but also I knew it was secular fiction, so I had expectations that there would likely be language or content I would end up DNFing. And there wasn't. And I really enjoyed that book. That was a really good, pleasant surprise. It's so nice to see mainstream fiction put out a book that doesn't have to be DNF'd right away. Okay, question number 9, funniest book. Okay, funniest book. This one, I don't really read funny books. I don't know. Are there funny books? Tell me in the comments. What's a funny book to you? Like, I feel like people don't write funny fiction. Like, it's just not something, like, it just doesn't work somehow. I don't know. Comment down below if you can recommend some comedic fiction. Like, some books will have, like, a chuckle once or twice in the whole book. I don't consider that a comedy though. So anyway, I'm gonna go with Over the Garden Wall. If you guys know this cartoon / graphic novel, it's a really cute, sometimes weirdly and kind of disturbing content. It is meant for kids. I don't know. You'd have to judge the kid to know if the kid could handle it. But the reason why I put it in the funniest book is because of Greg, the little brother. He's hilarious. Oh, he's so cute and hilarious, and I just love Greg to bits. So yeah, that's why I chose that one. Number 10, the oldest published book. So I have 2 here. I mean, obviously one is older than the other one, but they're both quite old. So Nicholas Nickleby, 1839, and then The Three Musketeers, 1844. So it's pretty old. Number 11, my newest release, which is Who Is My Neighbor by Kristen Mapes. Mapes? Yeah. And that one was just released in August, so like 4 months ago. That's really new. My longest book, as far as page count, is Nicholas Nickleby by 780 pages. And then the shortest book was an Agatha Christie Christmas adventure short story. And that one was 27 pages. So I did read a good amount of Agatha Christie short stories this year, which was good because I'm trying to get my way through Agatha Christie's backlist. Not in a rush to do it, but that is a goal. Number 14, my favorite cover, I would have to say Winter's Maiden by Morgan L. Bussey. This is a cover style that I really, really love. I don't mind people on the cover if it's not too, like, here's my face. You know what I mean? I don't like faces on covers so much. But like, I don't know if you guys can see, but Mark of the Raven, you know, as a person, I really like that cover. Dangerous Beauty, I mean, I do like when, okay, I like and I don't like when the character has the back faced to us, the audience, which is like in Winter's Maiden. So I'm it's a weird one because I like it because it shows the character without too much detail. It leaves a lot to the interpretation still in your mind. You can still envision what they look like without it conflicting with the cover art. However, it's used so often that, I don't know, it's a little redundant maybe not redundant, but just overused. And in the same vein, it's a good way to show the character without showing all of the character. Anyway, tangent much. Okay, so question 15, a book you haven't stopped thinking about. That would be the first book in this series, Sword of Truth. And the thing about this book series, it's taken me so long to read it. I can't remember when we started reading The Sword of Truth. I would say late spring, early summer, maybe? And I'm only halfway through the second book, right? And it's December. So I'm reading it with my eyes. I'm reading it very, very slowly. So I'm allowing the story to really sink in and kind of like living the story with the characters, which is an interesting experience, but it also helps my brain to retain the information of that story, as well as like it doesn't leave me very quickly because I've spent so much time thinking about that story and like reading the story and being in that world, you know what I mean? So that's the answer to that one. Question 16, according to Goodreads, what is the highest rated Goodreads book that I read this year? And that would be, surprisingly, Who is My Neighbor by Kristen Mapes, which it's hard to know whether, you know, some of these ratings are accurate because this book has 364 ratings. It's only 4 months old, but people have been loving it, so it's 4.76 star rating. Yeah, so I was surprised. Also, I'm surprised because it's a Christian author, so that it would be rated so highly, which is fantastic. I love that. And then the lowest rated according to Goodreads was technically The World's End, which is an Agatha Christie short story. It has 292 ratings at a star rating of 3.53, which is pretty high, I feel like, still, for like an average star rating. That's not very low. But because it's a short story, and I didn't know if you guys would like approve of that, I went to the next lowest. That was a full book, and that would be You Are Fatally Invited, which I was surprised about. I mean, it's considered the lowest overall star rated book I read this year, but it's rated 3.57 stars with 16,706 ratings. That's still pretty high as a lowest. See, I was surprised because it was the lowest overall rated book that I read, but at the same time, it's still a pretty good rating. I feel like maybe in Goodreads world, that's not a good rating. I don't know. I did go into the You're Fatally Invited ratings to see like what people were saying with the 1 stars and 2 stars, and there is quite a few 1 and 2 star ratings. So I guess it's not loved by everyone, which is too bad because it's a really good book. Okay, question 17. What is a favorite author of the year? So not my most read author, and not necessarily a debut author for me, but what is an author that you connected with this year that you're like, I want to read more from them? And for me, that is Jill Williamson, which also for me is the first time I've read her, but I definitely want to read more. So I'll be picking up some more of her books sometime. I guess not next year unless I buy some. That's so sad. Okay, question 18. What is the most unique storyline? And I would say Across to Kill, because that one, though I didn't care for the execution of the book, I didn't really love the book as much as I wanted to. The premise is really unique in that a CIA assassin, a retired CIA assassin, is now has accepted Christ and is now a pastor of a church. So I really love that concept. The storyline is really unique. I wanted to love it because of the concept, but I didn't care for the book. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was good. It was just kind of the middle of the road. Next question. Most likely to reread. which would be Circle of Honor, which was my favorite of the year, if you remember, and as well as Your Fatally Invited. I would probably reread both of those. Actually, the whole Circle of Honor, that whole series. I forget what the series is called. Next question. How many rereads this year? Okay, so I assumed going through the year that I was rereading my whole library of books. I was like, I'm rereading so much. This is the year of rereads. And now when I look back and counted, there's only 6. I was kind of surprised by that. I thought there was like a lot. But I reread 6 books this past year. So there's that. Number 21. What is the most meh book? So it's like not a bad book, not a good book. Just kind of like, it is what it is. It just exists. And I went with Never Miss by Melissa Coslin. I rated it 3 stars, so that's a average rating for me, middle of the road. I didn't end up giving it a written review on Goodreads because I don't know why, but to me that's an indication that I didn't really have a lot to say. So I'm gonna go with Never Miss, but also I came across the short story from Agatha Christie called The Coming of Mr. Quinn, and I had to include this one because I literally wrote meh in the review. So it has to go here because that's just too funny. Number 22, The Most Wholesome. And I would probably go with the Squire and Knight graphic novel. I thought this was so cute. I love the illustration. The whole thing with the dragon, really cute. I love it. So that was a good story. Number 23, Most Hyped. And what did you think of it? So of all the books you read in the year, which book was most hyped by other people, like the masses, your friends, whatever, BookTube, Bookstagram, whatever, the most hyped? What did you think of it? And I'm gonna go with Your Fatally Invited because, well, see that one? I had that one on my TBR before it was even released, and I hadn't heard really anyone talk about it until it was released, and then people started talking about it. So, but that's really the only one that fit very well from all the books I read. I don't read a lot of new releases, so people don't usually hype up backlist books, which is kind of sad. Like, there are a lot of backlist books that need to be hyped. So anyway, and you guys know my rating for You Are Fatally Invited was 4 stars. And the last question, number 24, the most obscure or unheard of. You haven't really heard of the author, the book, you've never really seen the cover, it just came out of nowhere into your path and you read it with no real context. And for me, that was Leaven of Malice by Davies Robertson, is that his name? And the tagline on this book makes it sound like it's going to be like a comedy, like really funny, and I was anticipating it to be really funny. I was hoping for it to be really funny, and it wasn't really that funny. It was okay. It was mildly amusing. I didn't hate the book. It wasn't a favorite. It was kind of middle of the road once again, but it was definitely unheard of. I've never heard of that author, that book, never seen the cover. I picked it up at a thrift store one day. There it is. So that is me wrapping up 2025. It was a different year because I read so much less. Yeah. I didn't have that push. I mean, I still had a little bit of the push to read and read and read and read and read, but it was a little bit less. Yeah, I'm curious to see how this next year will go. I'm really excited to get a good chunk of books off of my shelf, which was something I was working on this past year as well, and I did a really good job of reading books that I owned this past year. But this next year, I imagine I'm gonna read a lot of books, but I read so slow. I'm gonna have to find a lot of audiobooks. I don't know, you'll have to come along the journey and see how this works out. So yeah, let me know what was your favorite and least favorite book of the year, or anything else about your reading year that you would like to share. Comment down below and we will chat about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you had a fabulous 2025 and that you will experience the Lord in new ways in 2026. I will see you all in the new year. Bye.